The Venezuelan oil industry was one of the most important in the world and allowed the formation of a prosperous and productive economy. But today, it is experiencing a devastating process. In the last decade of the 20th century, the country produced up to 3.1 million barrels of oil per day. In those years, the production, refining and marketing of hydrocarbons represented around 25% of the gross domestic product. But as of 1999, oil production began to fall, reaching 1.4 million barrels per day in September 2018. Since the arrival of Hugo Chavez to the presidency, the exploration, production, transportation, refining and commercialization of hydrocarbons were affected. The fall of oil exploitation dragged the production of associated and non-associated natural gas. The decline in oil production also affected the national petrochemical industry with an impact on enterprises producing plastics and fertilizers. The production of Pequiven, for example, fell by half in 5 years. The deterioration of the hydrocarbon sector is the result of having privileged political criteria over technical, economic, and business criteria. In 2003, after the oil workers' strikes, Chavez fired 20,000 high-level PDVSA professionals. In February 2007, in the midst of a wave of expropriations, Chavez ordered the transformation into joint ventures of all the agreements and strategic associations that PDVSA had with international oil companies. The state reserved a shareholding of 60% or more. The oil companies that refused to be part of joint ventures had their assets expropriated. In May 2009, it was enacted a new law that allowed the state to take control of oil service companies, excluding the private sector. The expropriations in the state of Zulia included assets and high-tech projects that were in full swing. In 2018, there are more than 115 enterprises in the hydrocarbon sector in which the state is the absolute owner or majority shareholder. They are characterized by poor performance, high indebtedness, and many public allegations of corruption. They are enterprises managed with political criteria in which investments and maintenance were ignored, and as of 2007, they became involved in activities outside of their mission, such as the construction of houses and the import and distribution of food, with disastrous results for the most vulnerable population. The sector's payroll increased exponentially. Of 42,000 employees in 1998, it reached 142,000 in 2016. The tasks of oversight, check and balance among public powers were compromised by designating the same person as president of PDVSA and Minister of Petroleum. By financing electoral campaigns and populist programs, the industry became a political player. Corruption cases proliferated. The Attorney General appointed by the Constituent Assembly stated that up to August 2018, there were 90 PDVSA officials detained for irregular acts against the enterprise. The cases abound: financial crimes, irregular handling of PDVSA bonds, overbilling, fictitious purchases, bribery, theft of equipment, and money laundering. Mismanagement and corruption have compromised foreign currency earnings and led to the loss of industry assets and the exodus of thousands of professionals at the highest level. It is urgent to free the state-owned enterprises from corruption, make them transparent to guarantee the good exploitation of natural resources and the efficient investment of the income they generate.